Previously on the Frontier Farmer. It's prime opportunity for us to head over to West Creek and conduct the cultivating. So we've had some building materials delivered and a couple of the folk are looking to start construction of that butcher's. Fantastic job by Colin. Both fields cultivated up now. Well done, fellas. That was very speedily set up and constructed. Here we are, and oh, it looks like Chuck is here ready to receive us. So, hello Chuck, thanks very much for coming down here to run the butchers for us. So let's get this cultivated up, and then we can get some produce moved to the new farm shop. It was 6 pallets of flour, and we've got 3 pallets of oil, so let's get this loaded up. But here we go, bacon, and this looks to be a nice farm shop. But I am excited for spring. It's going to bring some more jobs on the homestead. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Frontier Farmer at the Dark Forest. It's a misty March, but at least the snow and winter has been left behind us. It is now springtime, and I've been checking out the grass field at Newfield, and it is ready to harvest, but it has not reached the maximum height. I'm expecting it to probably double in height once it is the second stage of ready to harvest. And that is going to maximize our growth yields. So we are going to wait for that to come in and grow to the secondary height. And I literally cannot wait to get the hay bine out of the shed and get to mowing. But in the meantime, we have a field that needs a crop. Farm side field. We got this all prepped up previously and we need to put a crop in it. And I'm thinking oats, because that is going to benefit our horses, and we used a good portion of oats to make some flour at the windmill on Windmill Hill, so we can replenish our stocks. But later on today, I think we are going to be heading over to West Creek, because we have some planting in mind. The 2 fields at West Creek are needing a crop as well, so I'm thinking that we will potentially plant some potatoes, which will be exciting. But let's jump in the International first of all. Good morning, horses. They have been nice and fed. All the animals have been well looked after. Now we've entered spring, but we want to deposit the dolly trailer. We might need this again later because there's some more flour and potentially some more bacon that Chuck has made at the butcher's that we can take to the farm shop. But this morning we need the drill. Luckily the International is in good service and has been fueled up recently as well, so we can get cracking straight away and grab our lovely Great Plains drill, which is next to our Cyclo IH planter. We won't be needing the planter today, but we will of course have to buy some equipment later on that is going to allow us to plant potatoes, because potato equipment is a specialty of its own. Let's head over and get the seed and fertilizer topped up. Closing up because we are full of seed and fertilizer, and we need to change crop. We want oats, so let's get that selected. There we go, fantastic. And we can head over to farm side field. I think this drill is going to make easy work of all of that. Right, so let's get to drilling our oats. Last slither drilled, and we can raise up. The oats are in, and we can fold up as well. Fantastic. Actually took a little bit longer than I was expecting, but I think that's because we chose the plucky International Harvester tractor. I of course could have chosen the Kirovets, but the International Harvester does like a good run around, and it's always raring for the challenge. The Kirovets is such a big beast, it would not have had any challenge doing that drilling, so it is nice to give the International Harvester a good bit of use, and I'm sure we'll use the Kirovets when it comes to re-drilling or replanting new field once that grass is out of there, unless of course we opt to keep grass in there for a whole year so we can get a couple of mows out of it. We will wait and see what the best thing to do is. Let's get the drill parked up. That field should be good now until harvest time, because we are going to have the oats sprout and grow, but that field was ploughed, so we're probably not going to see any weeds come up, which is good news. Right, I think the next thing to do is we're going to head over to West Creek, because we're going to go check out what we need to do there in regards to some potato planting. And plan is that we're going to use the West Creek equipment plus what we're going to buy today, and yeah, that'll involve the Volvo rather than the International. So let's get this parked up, we can grab the pickup and head over there. And there we go. Dropping off the International is a good workhorse, and that's why we like to keep using it. Better close this gate just in case the horses get through the first gate. Right, let's grab the pickup. This has served us well for quite a few logistical trips, and to be honest, whilst we are at it and on the way over, we might as well go to Windmill Hill and pick up our flour, and then also grab our bacon on the way, as Chuck did give me a call and say that some of the bacon is ready to pick up again. He's been working fast. Yes, the windmill has stopped now because I think we've processed all the oats and the canola that was in here making oil, and we can grab our flour. 5 pallets loaded up, that's a pretty good haul, and our oats have gone a long way, which is nice, but that's why we need to replenish oats. Now we've got some drilled into farm side field, that will keep the horses and yeah, our windmill happy. We can get some more oats in there once it's harvest time. Right, to see Chuck at the butcher's. Much nicer seeing everything in the spring colours rather than the blistery winter dimness. Over the bridge, and yes, the Butcher's is here, which is quite a handy location. It looks like Chuck is busy at work, and oh, we have a car here. I think Chuck must have moved over here finally. He's got his car and he set up residence at Lake Point, which is handy. And I think we better inquire, because I think he's got some pallets of bacon for us. Indeed, Chuck has been busy at work. He has turned all of our pigs into bacon or pork chops, whatever bistecca is. Obviously, it is in a different language to what we are used to, but we've got 4,000 litres, so that should be 4 pallets worth. Let's get it loaded. Here it is, more yummy bistecca. I guess it could be bacon or it could be pork chops. It looks a bit more like back bacon to me, so we will go with bacon. And bistecca has a B in it, so I guess you could say that it is closer to bacon in that regard. Don't know where he has bought this packaging from, but it must be somewhere in Europe. I'm thinking Spain or Italy, which is interesting for it to find its way into the dark forest, but I guess there's not many bacon packaging companies close by, so Chuck has sourced what he could get. That's all loaded on there now, so we can head over the bridge into Riverways and to our new farm shop, which we did deposit some goods at last month, and I think we are keeping them well and truly stocked because they're getting a lot of produce now. Flour, they had oil previously, bacon, now they're getting more flour and bacon. And sold for a pretty penny too, $9,563. Nice. Right, let's get back to West Creek and we can get on with planning our potato planting. Here we are, and our fields are ready to receive. So I think we'll just spin around here. We've got the dolly trailer, so it's always a little bit awkward to maneuver, but there we go. Just giving them a knock, but it doesn't seem like anyone is here today. I think I was expecting Jason, as they were going to watch the planting that we were going to do, but we actually have 2 steps. First of all, we're going to be making some ridges, which is going to help with the fertilization of the ground, and then we have the planting to do. And I think what we were going to do is kind of lead the way and do one field, and then Jason was going to come along and do the second field, so we could kind of show them how it's done and then they could take over. But yeah, we haven't done potatoes as such yet, so it's kind of new territory for us, but we are the most experienced farmer that is in the dark forest, so the West Creek farmers look to us for all that guidance and support. We'll be taking the Volvo over to the distribution centre so we can buy the ridge maker and then the potato planter, which will be interesting. So let's head over there, and hopefully Jason is here by the time we're back. Left turn onto the main track, and I have a bit of a relationship developing with the Volvo. It is nice to drive these different vehicles, and you sort of get to know them as a bit of a character, and the Volvo definitely has got a nice little charm to it. So we're going for the Agromet P441 Ridge Maker. It needs 20 horsepower to pull, which is fine. It's 2 meters wide, which is going to match the potato planter we can source, and it's going to cost us $500, so a fair price. And it comes in a nice Volvo matching red already, so let's buy that. Here it is, lovely job. It's only a small implement. But the value in this ridge maker really is that it's going to be giving us a fertilization stage for the ground. The potatoes grow best when they are in those raised ridges, and despite the planter having sort of a ridge built in, this really does make those ridges perfect for housing the potatoes, and that means it's going to save us not having to fertilize. And of course the potato planter we buy is not going to have any liquid or solid fertilizer built into it because it's only going to be a small planter. So this is really going to do us good in adding the secondary level of fertilizer to the ground. Right, we made it back to West Creek, and it's Richard. Hello, Richard. Wasn't expecting you. I was expecting Jason. Oh right, I see Jason is busy today. But yeah, good to see you. Right, yes. Well, we will be doing some ridge making. You can watch us, and then you can do the second field. Sounds good. Fantastic. Right, we will get set up down here somewhere, and hopefully we can get started without a fuss. I think we'll probably do West Creek South because it is the less square of the fields, and that might make Richard's life a little bit easier for him. So let's lower this down, and hopefully we're going to see some nice ridges forming. I need to try and keep it straight if I can. Okay, so it doesn't seem to be making any ridges as such, but it is adding the fertilization stage, which is good. So, I don't know, potentially should we have done this after we planted or before? So yes, we're not making ridges. Perhaps these are to kind of reinforce the ridges once the planter has done its thing. And I think the distribution center did say that it's also to do with weed control as well. So yeah, not off to the greatest of starts, but perhaps we'll go back and grab the planter because we'll be needing that. Yes, Richard, I think we've got off to a bit of a false start. We need to swap over to the planter, use that first, and then hopefully we can use that ridge maker to make the ridges all nice and solid and add the secondary level of fertilizer. We'll nip back with the planter. Back we are. Let's grab the planter. And for planter, another Agrizette, but it is the SA2-074, and we can configure this to a nice colour. I've gone for red, but you can get grey or white, but I think red's going to match the Volvo quite nicely. And for capacity, we can add a hopper on top to make it 370 litres, but it can go down to 240, 300 and then 370. But this looks perfect. Needs 30 horsepower, 2 meters wide, which matches our ridge maker, and it's $1,300. So let's buy it. Hitch it up. Fantastic. That is a nice match. I like that. Right, let's get back to West Creek, and we should be able to fill up with not seeds but potatoes from the silo that we have there. We'll head right to the back of the yard so we can grab some potatoes for the hopper. Now, if my memory serves me well, I think we actually grew potatoes in our open garden, but we have not actually grown potatoes in a field ourselves yet. Let's get loaded with potatoes. There we go. Fantastic. Cost us a bit of money, but never mind, that is going to pay us back in dividends, I'm sure. And the main reason for doing potatoes primarily is because we need root crops for our pigs. And now we have a butcher's, we've got a good throughput for our pig farm. But we were using sugar beets for the root crop, and sugar beets are probably better served at the sugar mill, making lovely sugar for our bakery. So if we can give the pigs potatoes, they won't be using up the sugar beet. Right, I think we might need to turn this on. No, maybe we don't. I think it must just run from being lowered. Let's have a look how we get on. Are we going to be making some potato ridges? Helps if I unfold the planter. Right, let's lower it now. And hopefully we are putting in potatoes. We are, but it does not appear to be in ridges, which is interesting. Right, well, no ridges, but we are planting potatoes. So perhaps I remembered wrong. Maybe we don't have large ridges for potatoes, but I thought that we did. But nonetheless, it is working. So what we'll do is we'll get this all planted, and then we'll come along and do the fertilization later. Now, based on this being a kind of ridged planting process, we are just going to be doing rows. We're not going to be doing any headlands as such, so going to be lots of turning back and forth. I can't see where I have just planted, so that is interesting. I guess it is the wheel lines. So leave this for me. Hopefully we can get this all planted. I think I'm going to have to refill a few times. So let's get the potatoes in. Potatoes planted. Fantastic. Right, that is West Creek South all planted. And been having a bit of a think whilst that planting has been going on. And I'm thinking potentially the reason for the lack of ridges when planting the potatoes is either due to our smaller and more basic equipment that suits our day and age, or potentially it is down to the fact that I have got the premium expansion activated in this map and save. And what that is doing is, I think, enabling the parsnips, red beets and carrots as crops. But as part of that, you did have to conduct a ridge making, and I'm wondering if the ridge maker and potato planter we have got is not really enabled to the same degree as that expansion. So that might be a reason for the lack of ridges, but I guess we can try again in another season to see if any changes make a difference. But what we are going to do is set Richard up here so he can get off and do the planting in this field. Hopefully we've given him good enough guidance. So, yeah. Richard, over to you, and good luck getting the potatoes in. Fantastic. So Richard has finished planting West Creek North. The potatoes are all in, which is superb. He's just dashed off to go to the toilet as he's been a bit desperate whilst busy in that field for a long time. And whilst he is, we are going to grab the ridge maker and see what this is going to do to the state of the field. We did obviously use it on West Creek South initially, and I'm hoping that it is still going to add fertiliser to the field, but I'm not expecting it to make any ridges, which is really what we wanted it to do in the first place. So let's just put this down and a bit gingerly go into the field, because I'm slightly concerned it might mess up what is already in there. It doesn't seem to be messing it up, so that is good, but it is going to make it rather difficult to see where we have and haven't been. So because we haven't got ridges, I think the best and easiest way to get fertiliser on this field is to use solid fertiliser, which is a little bit disappointing because I was hoping that we weren't going to be needing to use that, but based on the fact that we haven't got large ridges, it just does not make sense to go through with this ridge maker and not really cause anything that is going to add a fertilisation state. So we will have to endure the cost, and I'm sure Richard won't mind me just seeing to this job quickly. So let's grab our trusty spreader, and I can't remember what is in here. It might be lime that is still in here. No, it is fertiliser, so that is good. So we can get cracking really and get this field fertilised up. Our potatoes nicely updated to the secondary level of fertiliser. I think this has got quite a wide span, so yes, not going to take me very long at all. So let's get it covered and see you when we're done. Told you it wasn't going to be a big job. That's it all fertilised up, and makes sense we just did it that way as we haven't got big ridges. So that is both fields planted with potatoes and fertilised up now. Be very interesting to see what these fields look like once they have germinated, because it is quite a bit different to what I was expecting. I was expecting some quite big ridges, and for us to have sort of planted the potatoes in those ridges after they were made. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they turn out to be like, or to see if we get any kind of yield penalty for not having large ridges, because of course you can plant potatoes and other root crops without ridges, but I think ridges is the intended way to go, so you make sure you get the best possible yield. Alright, well, oh, hello Richard. Yeah, we got the field sprayed with solid fertiliser. We decided to do that rather than the ridge marking or making, as yeah, it just didn't make sense because the potatoes are obviously not in deep ridges, but we'll see how we get on. That's our first venture into potatoes. Potentially the equipment we have got is just so small scale it can't make the big ridges, but we will see, won't we? Right, catch you later, Richard. Give Richard toot as we go. See you later. And yes, it will be interesting to see how the potatoes do in their growth cycles. But most importantly, I think I am very excited for next month, because I'm hoping that's when we're going to be able to mow the grass in New Field. Got some big plans for that grass as well. We are going to put it into our silage bunker and turn it into yummy silage to make TMR for our cows. And potentially we might look to get another and newer forage wagon which will help us deposit it into that silage bunker, which means West Creek can have our old forage wagon donated to it. Right, we've made it back. Horses are happy to see us, and this is the old forage wagon that West Creek could get. It has served us very well. We haven't used it in a while, so we could probably wash it up, service it, and get it over to them. That's if they have got shed space. I think they might have run out. But there we go. I think that is it for today. A misty March has turned into a nice sunny March, and I'm very grateful for us to have spring with us. We've drilled some oats in Farmside Field. That is going to be good to replenish our stocks. Then we took our first venture into potato farming by planting potatoes in West Creek with some assistance from Richard, who did a grand job planting after us. But the equipment was somewhat smaller and didn't make the larger ridges, so we will see how we get on. Potentially in another season we'll have to try another method, see if that works better. But hope you have enjoyed watching. If you have, remember to drop a like and subscribe. If you've got any tips, tricks or things you'd like me to do, feel free to leave a comment. But all there's left to say is I hope to see you again next time on the Frontier Farmer. And until then, catch you later. Cheers all. Bye bye.